Welcome back to the Paddle and Fin Podcast Network. We're brought to you by Pelican, built tough for all situations. Go to pelican.com. YakGadget, for all your fine kayak fishing accessory needs. Go to YakGadget.com. EastPort Marina, on the beautiful shores of Dale Hollow Lake. For all your lodging, kayaking, and fishing needs, go to eastport.info. Now let's get this show started.
All right, guys, welcome. Let's do this.
Welcome to a special edition of the Rusty Hook Podcast, streaming live on Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook. 1 hour of straight talk regarding tournament news, angler profiles, gear reviews, and more. Now let's get our show started by joining with John Rapp, our host.
Hey, guys, welcome to the Rusty Hook Kayak Fishing Podcast. I'm John. Hey, make sure you take a few minutes to go like and subscribe so you can be notified when I'm online. And got a really good show for you here today. It's a special edition show because we have our season is kicking off next weekend, April 1st, Fool's Day, as the WVKA West Virginia kayak anglers are kicking it off. I got a great little show here. So I got some stuff set up for you. This is a pre-recorded show because I'm going to go over some details of our event. Summersville Lake and the Gauley River is a absolutely great fishery, especially this time of year as the season's getting ready to kick off. It will be a little bit more difficult for our kayak anglers because at the moment, the lake is still at winter pool, which is at its slowest level. Starting April 1st up to mid-May, it goes up 3 feet every day when they start holding back water. So I want to go over a little bit of details for you here. And first, I think what we'll do is we'll get the TourneyX page set up here for you. And I'm going to go over that real quick. So let's go over to the TourneyX page, which we have set up. Let me get it right here. Monitor 2. Go over everything here for you for the event. Okay, so as you can see, I'm going to bring up the big screen here and make it a little bit easier to read. Summersville WVKA event starts off on April 1st. And with the tournament, we have the captain's meeting at the bar on March 31st at 8 p.m. That's at the Tractor Bar, right off Route 19 here in Mount Nebo. And tournament kicks off at 7 a.m. from 3 p.m. And you have to be back 30 minutes after line's out. So you have to be back at the Tractor Bar at 3:30. So make sure you take that into play. Awards ceremony is scheduled for 4:30. And our tournament charity is going to be for the Shriners, which Steve and them at the Tractor Bar are big contributors to. Dinner at the Tractor Bar. And if we get enough folks signed up, we're going to work with Mary at the Tractor Bar and have her do like a taco bar that they do on Tuesday nights. So it's a pretty sweet setup that she does, and I think everybody will enjoy that. So there's just going to be no teams, divisions. It's just going to be the singles, individual entries. It's $25, $5 big bass pot. And there's a non-member fee. It's showing $5 here. Greg will go over that more in detail at the captain's meeting if you're a non-member. You'll need to show up if you're a non-member because you won't have access to the member page with additional information that's provided to us regarding the tournament there. And then also Greg has put out a payout list. You can check it out. And if you have questions regarding that, I think it's on the members page as of today. And then there's our awards. stuff like that. So we have 9 people signed up. I know there's another half dozen or more that Greg polled earlier today that are going to be part of the event. So now what I want to do is go over the areas that are going to be in play and out of play. So I'm going to pull up my other map here. And we're going to pull that up for you and go over it just a little bit so you can see some of the locations here. Let me readjust my map here on my screen so you guys can get a better look of it, better view of everything in play. First, let's show you where the event headquarters is, which is on the map now. Based off Route 19, as you can see right here, the main 4-lane highway, you come down here to the Go Mart exit. Right there's the Go Mart at the top of the screen. Right here, when you get off the exit, it's a light. You make this right here. And as you can see, it's just right up, not even 2 or 3/10 of a mile up on the right. That's our event headquarters. Now, as you can see, the lake is just right off Route 19 from where the headquarters is. And there are only 2 locations that you can go to right now to get in to the water. The first location is the Battle Run location. I'm going to take you to it, and it's just across the dam. Now, when you cross the dam right here, you can see the dam right here. There's a little park right here at the bottom to the right. At the end of that park, you can see the road that goes down the hill, and that's the winter ramp. Takes you down, you can put in at the Battle Run. And then, of course, there's the Salmon Run. And that's on the other side of the lake over by Hughes Bridge as you cross the lake on Route 19. And it's a regular ramp, summer and winter ramp. It's just lower water for the winter time. You can see the ramp up top here for the summertime when the water crests back up to the top here. But right now, as you can see down here at the bottom where it's marked, you can see even in the Google photo there where people have parked and they put it in the water. So those are the 2 Summersville access locations that you can get to get into the water from there. Now, let's talk about if you're going to do the river. Now, you can see here that I've already got an area marked off. This part of the river is off limits. Okay, and then at the end of the river at Gauley Bridge is the cutoff for the. So anything past Route 60 Bridge is out of limits. And then at the starting point of the river is back up at Curtin Bridge, just outside of Craigsville. So that's where the Gauley comes in. It meets the Cherry River. That is your starting point. Anything on this side of the river is good to go. Just make sure that you scout the river. You review it on these maps because there are some good rapids in these locations. It's got a lot of boulders and undercuts. It's a very dangerous river. So just be safe. Use common sense. So I hope I went over a few things there that'll help you guys, get you prepared for the event. Here in just a few minutes, I'm going to reach out to a few people that can tell us more about the river, their past experiences, and give you some ideas. And maybe if we can get Greg on, we'll get him to just talk about a few things that are going to be happening at the check-ins and such that he's got planned. But anyway, hope that helps a little bit. Before we bring on somebody here, I think maybe what we'll do is we'll bring up an angler profile. And go from there.
My favorite fishery. My favorite fisheries here in West Virginia are Stonewall Jackson Lake and Burnsville Lake. I seem to do pretty well on both of those. My favorite lake overall, though, has been Lake Murray down in South Carolina. That's been really good to me as far as the tournament scene goes. fishing technique. That would be really anything power fishing. I think that the crankbaits seem to be what's been really good to me as well, and what I tend to start fishing with. But really anything power fishing, anything moving, anything real aggressive. I really don't like slowing down all that much. Fun fishing with someone. The people that I really love fun fishing with is Storm and Phil, and of course Bunny's along on that a lot, and now Sierra. So those are the people that I really enjoy fun fishing with. Least favorite technique would be dead sticking. Just throwing it out there and just leaving it set really drives me crazy. Coming from a catfishing perspective, that may seem a little strange, but man, I like moving. I like my power fishing. What I admire the most, it's really tough on the pro side of things. When you look at outspoken Christians like Ott Defoe, Edwin Evers, of course the late Aaron Martins, those are all guys that I look up a lot to for using their platform as fishermen to make people's lives better. And on the kayak side, I'd have to say Matt Ball. I really want to spend some time with him and learn some things from him, and see how that would go. So Matt Ball would be the pro kayak side that I would like to learn from. When did I learn to fish? As a kid, there's all kind of memories I had of fishing with all sorts of family members. But the thing I remember the most, learning how to tie knots and everything, was with my grandpa. I called him Pap. Catfishing a lot during the day, during the night. But that's where I learned the most about fishing. My greatest accomplishment in kayak fishing is right here on the wall behind me. I first place finished my first KBF Trail Series event. Won that event down at Lake Murray. And then the very following year, following that up with an 8th place finish. I think that's a pretty decent accomplishment for just being in kayak fishing for 4 years now.
Thank you, Rick. If any of you other guys would love to contribute to those questions, an angler profile, West Virginia kayak angler guys, anybody out there, I would love to have that information. Just reach out to me, and I'll give you the information on how to get the videos to me, so I can put them together with my graphics and profile you as an angler on the show. So we're going to take a quick break, and then we'll jump back on, and we'll go with and see if we can reach out to a few anglers and talk about Summersville Lake and what they've done to be successful out there. Feelfree Kayaks. Paddle, pedal, or power. There's something for everyone. DuBro Fishing. Manufactured and designed marine products, American-made plastics, and fishing gear. Westbrook Supply Co. Atlanta's best kayak company for all your paddling and fishing needs. YakGadget. American-made kayak fishing accessories and gear. Ace Adventure Resort, West Virginia's #1 outdoor destination. Whitewater, ziplining, water park. All right, guys, stand by. Let's see if we can get somebody on. Okay, I've reached out to one of my good buddies who I just spent a long week with down in fishing in the cold weather of Guntersville. Looks like he's got poor connection. We got him back here. So let's bring him on while we got the opportunity. And that's Rick Garavaglia. Hey, Rick, welcome to the show, buddy. Hey, man, so
hello.
I wanted to get your thoughts on Summersville Lake, this tournament coming up with the West Virginia kayak anglers, and just run down the lake from your perspective and the river, and give some insights to the people that may not be familiar with the waters.
Yeah, well, I could start with the river. I know they changed the off limits areas on that a little bit. So anything on the gully above that bridge, that last bridge there, I don't know anything about it. We used to fish down where it would combine down to Canal Falls. That used to be part of the in limits, and now it's not. So that's the only area I know, and I've only been on it twice. I did finish fourth on it a couple years ago. But Summersville as a lake has been kind of hit and miss for me. My very first tournament, I think, was a little bit later in the year, in April, and the water had come up quite a bit. And I was my first year ever. I guess that would be 5 seasons ago, 4 years ago. And I finished ninth in my first tournament ever there. And I was able to use a little bit of jerk bait, a donkey rig. I think he was taking pictures of me at one point from the launch site on the winter ramp. And I caught a couple fish in that backwater area there, but it was largemouth, and they were just coming up with the water. A couple years ago, it was real windy, real cold. It was a tough tournament. I think I caught a fish right at the very end that kept me from blanking. And then last year was what had come up 8 foot on us, and so it really is a lake that the conditions change the spring of the year. It's hit and miss. But what I've learned is you got to go finesse and you've got to go slow. You almost have to dead stick things. Hopefully I'm not giving anyone else's techniques away. I've not done very well at that because most know that I'm more of a power fisherman. I like throwing that crankbait. I like throwing moving things, the jerk bait. It's really hard to sit still and slow down very much, but that this time of year that you have to on Summersville. I do know that live scope, the guys with live scope will have an advantage because they'll be able to see whether the fish is there, whether they're wasting their time, and move on to other locations. And it's just one of those lakes that is hit and miss. We have opportunities there, but I don't know any places better than another. But it just being patient and being dressed for the weather.
Yeah, so some people might not understand too that some of the conditions at Summersville compared to other lakes in West Virginia is Summersville is a very deep rocky lake. It's steep drops, it's deep. And the other thing, on average, because of the rocks, it's a very clear lake. Even in murky conditions for Summersville, fish can see several feet away.
Right.
The other thing that I like your comment about is Summersville is very difficult because guys that have never fished it is a finesse lake this time of year, but it's also a walleye lake and a lot of smallmouth, and so where your techniques come into play is also probably a positive because guys can throw spinner baits or some deeper diving crankbaits to get down in the water column and maybe have some success. So yeah, I can see so many different possibilities, really depending if we have a bluebird sky or a lot of wind. Remember that year that you were talking about a couple of years ago on Summersville? Me and John Gillespie won the team tournament. He came in third and I came in 10th. And that was when it was 27 degrees, sunny, and then that wind came in, was blowing 30 miles an hour. I was throwing a small TRD dragging along the bank with the wind. And I was able to pick up 6 fish, which, as you know, that day, if you caught 1 or 2 fish, you were having a great day. So
yeah, a lot of people left early too, and that's where I would recommend people. There's been several tournaments that just one fish at the very end of the day made all the difference, and bite windows open up different parts of the day if it is warming up, because I remember it was snow on the ground on our way there.
That's right,
and that changed, but the wind picked up, And so, I think new anglers, stick with the finesse, stick with patience, and just look for opportunities there. If you've been doing this for a while, you just don't overthink it. I mean, last year I got a little frantic and rushed a fish on a crankbait, my one chance at a smallmouth, and it jumped off. I have video and pictures of that. That was great.
Yeah.
But it's
we're definitely not telling any of the old club members that have been around as long as you and I have from the last 5 years how to fish Summersville.
yeah,
They'll know. But all the new guys, hopefully, that do decide to come and hang out with us on the first, maybe this information will help you a little bit if you've never been there.
absolutely.
Hey,
Yeah.
buddy, I appreciate you. Thank you for taking a few moments while you were at work to give us a buzz in and give us some insight and your knowledge from Summersville Lake.
Thanks for having me.
Hey, you be blessed. And by the way, I used your angler profile just a little bit ago. So,
Oh, cool. Thanks.
hey, nothing but love, man. I'll talk to you later.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye. As my buddy Rick, now let's see who else we can wiggle into the show and give you some insight on Summersville Lake. Appreciate you guys. Stand by. All right, guys, I'm back, and I have a treat for you here. A lot of you kayak anglers are not familiar with this name, and only reason I am is because I've known this guy for almost 30 years, and he is one hell of a fisherman. He's well known in the circle that I used to run for winning a lot of tournaments on Summersville. He has several trophies that I know from the West Virginia State Police tournament when they run it out there in early to late May. But he's also been well known on the big circuit, the big TVs, placed well up at Lake Erie and other locations. And this guy, gentleman and scholar, and boy, he sure is good looking. His name is Bill Peock. Let me bring you on, buddy. What do you say, Billy?
How you doing, brother?
Good.
I don't know.
Hey, I didn't embellish you too much there, did I?
Oh, you lied for me pretty well.
Hey, man. So, guys, this is Bill Peock, one hell of a fisherman, has won a lot of tournaments in Summersville, and we were talking just off camera. Most of his tournaments were done, later in the May when the water's a summer pool. But Bill is a good cold water fisherman. He's done a lot of cold water fishing up in Lake Erie and other locations, and he'll give us a little insight and knowledge on what he thinks might be successful out on Summersville while it's still in 40-degree water and while it's still at winter pool. Bill, technique-wise, if you were to go out and fish on April 1st, here coming up in about a week, with the conditions that we have right now, it's overcast, it's right at 48 degrees, water temps are still in the 40s. What would you, in your arsenal, your bag of tricks, what would you do out at Summersville?
First thing I'd have would be either a silver buddy or also I call them little buddies. I make those, and a buddy of mine, Tony Keller, makes what he calls silver daddies. And it's just basically a blade bait. The best one that works up at Summersville is mostly a chartreuse color.
Okay.
So
So you're thinking chartreuse, and what was that? Did you call that a silver Betty?
Silver. It's a silver buddy. Silver buddy is a brand that makes the blade. But a buddy of mine, he calls his silver daddies. That's Tony Keller. He's from down Charleston.
Okay.
And of course, I sell them around here, and I call them little buddies. So basically, they're all the same thing.
Ooh. So
but the half ounce usually a 12-pound test line, fluorocarbon. You don't want any stretching in your line, and just work it from 9 to 12 on usually like a 6-9 or a 7-foot medium heavy bait caster.
Okay. Okay, cool. So, with the water and the rocks and stuff, I mean, we were talking, you said you had a couple tips when it comes to guys, a lot of guys in the kayak fishing scene, that they'll throw a Ned rig. So, if they were to throw a Ned rig, what colors would you recommend for them there?
This time of year, black and blue or yoga pants. Green pumpkin, of course, works all the time.
Right.
As it warms up, I'd go to something like a watermelon red. and the water clears up a little better.
Yeah, Summersville with that rocks and that depth seems to be clear quite a bit, even this time of year. So that, never always keep that red and that watermelon available just in case, I guess.
Yeah.
It is cold. I mean, that cold water. Would you possibly keep a bladed bait in mind, like a oh shoot.
Like a spinner bait or a chatterbait,
a spinner bait.
Now to me, it's still a bit too early.
Okay.
For that, and basically, it's either that or drag one of the ones you're talking about, or the spider jig works well up there, being drug on the bottom.
Okay.
But another one is the jerk bait. Of course, I'd have a jerk bait out on the deck.
Yeah, jerk bait, cold water. It's pretty routine. And spider jigs. Are you talking about the old Cabin Creek spider jigs?
Yeah.
Okay.
The old Cabin Creek. Yeah, or something like a spin jig.
Okay.
Like Yamamoto makes a real light finesse jig with a swim bait on the back of it.
Sweet. Hey man, I know you're not bashful, but I caught you by surprise asking you to do this, but I really appreciate you, Billy, coming on for a few minutes and chatting with us about Summersville Lake. Any other final thoughts or tips that you might out there?
As the water warms up, you'd also want to throw something like a red crankbait. Works well up there.
Okay.
Red or orange, something like in a tiger pattern.
Yeah, I was throwing. I had a buddy of mine up in Ohio make me some custom colors, and they were basically a solid gold, almost a gold brown, like a perch color.
And I think that's why the chartreuse blade works so well up there, is because of the perch.
Because Summersville is pretty loaded with that. And,
right.
All right, buddy.
Yeah.
Hey, man, I appreciate you.
No problem. Anytime.
That's my boy Billy Piock. We're gonna get you in a kayak, get you out on the river.
I might try that. I'll have to get in shape, I guess. Well, you put motors on them now.
I do. But you've never had a problem being in shape, so that ain't no issue.
Yeah, my shape's usually round though.
Nowadays, maybe, but we're a little age to us. But hey, man, nothing but love for you, man. I appreciate you taking a few minutes to come.
Same here, brother.
All right.
Same here, brother.
Thank you.
All right. Yeah, we'll see.
All right. That's my boy Billy Piock. So I appreciate him coming on. You guys stand by. We're going to get somebody else on here and get some more insight on Summersville Lake. All right, guys, welcome back. Got another fine gentleman on board and ready to talk about Summersville Lake. I believe he just said he is not going to fish because he's got responsibilities at home, but we may see his better half on the water. So, without further ado, what do you say, Phil?
Hey, buddy, how's it going?
Guys, we got Philip Backus, long-time big stick here in West Virginia. He's part of the power couple crew that have been smashing the kayak fishing scene from Florida to New York the past 2 years. So, Philip, Summersville Lake, West Virginia kayak anglers is getting ready to kick off their season. What are your thoughts on the river, the lake, and all of that?
Well, it's different this year. We usually have that tournament first week of May or so, but they have moved it. It's about a month earlier now, April 1st. So the lake is going to be, it's going to be a winter pool. I used to work there, but that April 1st day they start raising it. So unless there's a big rain flood event right before, it's going to be at winter pool for the start of the tournament. It ain't going to rise very much over the course of a day. So it's going to eliminate, a lot of water, because water's going to be dry ground. It's 75 feet below winter pool, so it's going to kind of condense the fish, but the water's going to be cold. I'd imagine the water is going to be upper 40s.
Yeah.
Yeah, my dad's been walleye fishing up there some. He said it was like 45, 46 there a few days ago. So it's going to be interesting. It's going to be a slow bite probably, unless we got some good weather. If we got a nice warming trend or something, it might get a little exciting. But yeah, I'm not going to be able to fish. I got to work, and but Sierra's going to fish, so we're going to try to get up in the next few days and maybe pre-fish a day. I'll take her up there and let her get her feet wet a little bit in the kayak this year. She ain't been on one since last year.
Yeah. Yeah.
But Summersville winter pool, there's not going to be. I mean, the only structure there's going to be is rocks. I mean, that's it. You know, rocks. That's it. Points, stuff like that. It's mainly a deep. You know, got deep edges to the whole lake. There's really not much shallow to fish.
So, what do you think about? Of course, you know the off limits area from the dam down to Swiss. Then you got Swiss down to the bridge, Route 60, and you got Curtin Bridge up to, as far as you can fish, back up
So
to the dam.
as far as the Gauley River,
what are you thinking about the Gauley River?
I mean, there's some rain forecasted in the next several days, so it could get dirty. But right now, like today, it looks very fishable. If I was fishing, I'd definitely consider the river. Other than it's cold, you'd have to be, extremely cautious not to flip. You don't want to flip in 40-something degree water.
No,
It'd be very dangerous, really fast. So
yeah.
anybody wanting to fish the river needs to take that into consideration, that it's going to be cold. Even if it's 70 that day outside, the water is going to be 40 degrees.
Right. Yep. So technique wise, so you're thinking for the new guys that might not be familiar with Summersville Lake, what techniques and stuff would you throw in this type of weather?
Repeat that. You broke up there, man. I couldn't hear what you said.
Yeah, we had a little connection issue there. What would you throw this time of year if you were going to fish?
On the river, I'd fish. I'd fish a crankbait, flat-sided crankbait maybe, jerkbait, deeper holes, slow roll spinnerbait, a small finesse swim bait, and always a Ned rig or a
shaky head, something.
Shaky head, finesse jig, drop shot. When it's this cold, the water's that cold, you just got to slow down a little bit. There's obviously not going to be any top water bite at all.
No.
So leave that stuff at home.
Awesome, man. Well, I appreciate you taking a few moments to give some insight on your thoughts for the upcoming tournament now that we're getting our season kicked off. Anything planned for you after the first of the year? You got anything going on? Hey, are we going to see you and Sierra down in Del Hollow?
You won't see Sierra, but you might see me.
Okay.
You might see me and Bunny.
Beautiful.
Because me and Sierra are going to Hartwell to fish the Bassmaster event the weekend prior. And kind of the deal was Bunny is going to watch the kids so we can fish, but then I'm going to take Bunny fishing the next weekend. And Del Hollow is definitely an option if it's got good weather.
I'm hoping. I'm going to be down there all week, so I'm hoping it's going to be good. So
it should be, yeah. That tournament's been a little bit earlier the past couple years, ain't it?
Yeah, it was April 2nd and 3rd.
I would imagine it'll be pretty good at the end of April.
Yeah, I'm hoping. Should be. Smallmouth should be bedding in that area by then. So, hey, man, I appreciate you. God bless you. And really taking a moment there. What's the water look like there out in front of you?
It's clear and green.
Ooh.
40 degrees here on the canal at London.
40?
Still pretty cold. Yeah, it's 40.
That is cold, isn't it? My goodness.
Well, it'll start warming up soon, though. Hopefully all this cold weather's about over.
Yeah, it'll come up quick. So, all right, Phil. Well, I appreciate you, man. Tell Sierra, Bunny, and the rest of the crew that I said hi. Hopefully we'll have Stormy on here quite shortly, and we'll get his insights.
All right, man. Thank you. Have a good one.
You too, buddy.
See you.
All right, that was Philip Backus, one of our big sticks from the West Virginia Kayak Anglers. Now we'll just see if we can get his brother-in-law on here and maybe Jonathan Cart when he's freed up and get some more insight from those guys, and we'll go from there. Thanks for hanging out with us, and stand by. All right, we're back, and I just dialed in our fourth guest of the evening, another individual who's very familiar with Summersville, been fishing with WVKA for a few years. Mikey. No, not
How are
Mikey.
you, buddy?
Wait, yeah, it is Mikey. I'm drawing a blank. Mikey. Okay, let me get you on camera here, Big Daddy. We got the riding there in the house. Hey, give us some details. Talk to a few different people about Summersville, what it's going to take to catch fish, and what you think we're going to have to do here April 1st to land some on the catch board.
You know, I've been anticipating this event, looking at the weather, watching things. Obviously, so much can change before next weekend that it's hard to say. But I think that the warming trend's coming. The nights aren't getting as cold. Uh, I think the fish are definitely going to be moving to some of those points and bluffs, making their way onto the spawn. And depending on what the water temperature's like, I think the smallies would be pretty predictable for this time of year. You find a school on small shore structure, you'll probably be able to sit there and get your limit that morning pretty quick. I guess it's just finding fish. Summersville last year was a little crazy with all the rain, and it may be the same way again this year. I don't know, but I'm excited. I'm not even gonna look at the Gauley. I'm definitely going to fish the lake and really just try to focus on some secondary points and offshore structure and see if I can make it happen.
So, what do you think? Well, water temperatures are mid 40s right now. They haven't broke 50 yet. So,
Yeah, I mean, I think it would take some serious warm weather next week to get it to break that 50. I don't think we're going to get there, but I think there's more to water temperature. I think the length of days and they know what's going on. I mean, they've been down this road and they're going to start making their way and doing their migration out of the wintering holes. Water temperature will definitely speed that up, and I'd like to see a few warm days and even warmer nights leading in next Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Would be awesome, but we'll wait and see. It's not really a largemouth fishery, as you know, anyway. Even though
yeah.
I did fairly well with those last year, so I'm just going to focus on the smallies, and I think we've got some hammers, and some guys are definitely going to find them, and they know the lake very well.
So, what technique do you think you're going to be using most frequently?
I think that'll definitely be water temperature dictated, but I imagine it's going to be just finesse, some shaky head, and drop shotting and Ned rigs and. I mean, I would love to be able to throw a spinner bait around and maybe get some reaction bites with some power fishing, and water temperature warms up. I think we'll definitely see some of that. But I'm definitely mentally preparing for the slow game and it just being a very just tedious and be very methodic and thorough and just try for that one fish and worry about the second one after the first one's in the boat.
Oh, awesome. So, is Junior going to make it down here with you?
I don't know. Possibly. We'll have to see what his work schedule's looking like. I know he wants to, and he joined the club this year on his own. So we'll definitely be seeing him out. I don't know how many pointers I'm going to give him since he's competed against me now, but no, I'm hoping that he is able to make it.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, any final thoughts?
What do you think it's going to take to win it?
That's, I think it's going to take 5 fish. And I believe it as things have happened in the past. I can remember a couple years ago, there was only 10 teams that actually caught or 10 individuals that caught a limit out of 60. So if you can catch a limit, I believe you can be in the top 15. if you can catch 5 fish.
I'm
I'm
gonna
gonna
call
I'm gonna say 75.
78 inches.
Well, I was
I'm gonna
thinking
say
that.
78.
Yeah, I was thinking that too, but I put out 75. So yeah, I think we're in the right ballpark.
I think so, buddy. It'll be good. I'm looking forward to seeing everybody and kicking the season off. I've got a new boat that hasn't even seen the water yet, so that'll be its maiden voyage.
Outstanding, man. Well, hey, I appreciate you reaching back out to me. I wanted to get some more people's thoughts on this before I wrapped up this video and put it on the podcast pages. So thank you, brother.
As always, good talking with you, John. You take care, buddy, and I'll
Hey,
see you
man,
next weekend.
You stay safe out there on the road. We'll see you soon.
Thank you.
All right, guys, that was Mikey riding there. Glad he was able to reach out and we were able to get him online. I think we'll start wrapping this up. We've got a few people that have given us some thoughts, and we'll call it a night. Get this thing packaged and uploaded and let everybody take a look at it. So, appreciate you guys hanging out with me. As always, stay safe. And it's John Rapp. Catch you on the flip side.